Assembly will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right, good morning, everybody. I want silence. Everybody is to settle down, to take a chair, and I need members of staff to assist me. You grade 10s, I want you to spread out, please. You have the whole hall. You can move back. And if I can ask members of staff in the gallery to check that there is a chair between every single matric. All right, good morning, members of staff, students of the school. Before we start our assembly, I'm sure that many of you are aware of the tragedy that happened in Israel last night. And so this morning we, King David High School, Linksfield, join the people of Israel in their prayers for the 44 people that were killed and the scores of people that were injured after a massive stampede broke out at Mount Meron, where thousands had gathered for the festival of BaOmer. Benjamin Netanyahu has described this as a heavy disaster, and it probably stands as one of the biggest tragedies in the history of modern Israel. And so our prayers and thoughts are with all the families and the state of Israel today. I'm now going to ask Rabbi Sasson to do the parasha for the week.
Thank you. Good morning, King David, the Shraga. On this very, very special day of BaOmer, this day when we pause our customs of mourning, we dance, we sing, we listen to music. The 33rd day of the Omer. And I want to share with you one of the special ideas connected to this day. You know that BaOmer is the passing of the Rashbi, Rab Shimon Bar Yochai. We know that it's the day that Rabbi Akiva's students stopped dying. And one of Rabbi Akiva's most famous teachings was Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. We know that teaching very well here at King David. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love another as yourself. It's very fitting that today is Denim Day as well. Because as we talk about and as we think about abuse out in the world, we know that this principle in Torah, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, can help guide the way. There's an important question that the rabbis ask, the commentators ask. How is it possible to love another as you love yourself? How can the Torah command such a thing? Each person has a self-love, a desire for survival, which is a love that knows no other, has no bounds. How can the Torah command a person to love another as yourself? Okay, to love another. Okay, to treat other people kindly. But as yourself? And this is something the commentators debate and try and understand. And I want to share with you a story to try and shed some light on this question. The story goes like this. There was once a very, very beautiful mirror. It's a story about a mirror. There was a Jewish businessman named Abraham, who had this fantastically gorgeous mirror, exquisite mirror, laid with gold, huge mirror. And the people of the town would come and marvel at this mirror, and they would see that in the top corner of the mirror, there was a little silver scraped off the mirror. And people would come and they'd see the mirror and they'd say, wow, beautiful mirror. Pity that the top corner is nicked. And every time someone would say that, Abraham would say, let me tell you how that came to be. I was the one who scraped the silver off the mirror. And let me tell you why. Once upon a time, Abraham was not such a wealthy man. Not poor, but not wealthy. He was a businessman. He had a small shop. And he had a few customers that would frequent his shop. And that was it. But he was incredible in the mitzvah and the commandment of welcoming people to his home, of tzedakah, of charity. Whenever people needed a place to stay, strangers visiting through the town, the beggars of the town asking for money, he always had time for them. He would welcome them in. He would give them what to eat. He would give them a bed to stay at. He would make them feel comfortable and warm. He was known as one of the most generous men of the region. One day a stranger is passing through the town, and he doesn't recognize who the stranger is, and he invites him to his home to stay for the night and to have a meal and a warm cup of coffee. Little did he know that this stranger was a great, great rabbi who people would come to for advice and for blessings. And at the end of the stay, the rabbi was so moved by Abraham's generosity that he blessed him with wealth and riches. And in short time, Abraham became a very, very wealthy and successful businessman. He bought a large home. He furnished it with paintings and furniture and carpets and the best things that money can buy. And the centerpiece of his new home was this beautiful mirror. But Abraham became a changed man. No longer did he have time for the beggars of his home, for maybe they would make the carpets dirty. No longer did he have time to invite people to stay over at night, to eat at his house. He would give money, but it was through a secretary. He didn't have time for people. One day, this rabbi that had visited Abraham's home had a congregant of his who needed a donation for a very, very important thing. And he told him, go to Abraham in this faraway town. He's a very generous man. And he goes to Abraham and he gets the donation, but he doesn't even get to meet Abraham. And he comes back to the rabbi and he says, look, I got what I needed, but Abraham was unavailable. And the rabbi understood that something had changed. And he came to visit Abraham and he saw right away. Abraham said, look at my beautiful home, the beautiful furnishings, and look at the centerpiece of my home, this beautiful mirror. And the rabbi brought Abraham to the mirror and he said, Abraham, what do you see when you look in the mirror? And Abraham said, I see myself. And he said, look closely, what do you see? And he said, I see my carpets, I see my paintings, I see my furnishings. The rabbi said, come. And he brought him to the mirror. And he said, what do you see when you look out the mirror? Out the window. He said, what do you see when you look out the window? Abraham said, well, I see the people of the town. I see Moshe, who needs money to marry off his daughter. I see Tuvia, who needs money to keep his shop open. And he named all the people of the town that he knew for all of his life. And the rabbi said, isn't it such an interesting thing? Both glass and mirror, both mirror and window, are both made of glass. And yet in one, you see your reflection, and in the other, you see the people of your town. And Abraham said, well, let me explain to you the science. In a mirror, they put a sliver of silver in front of the glass. And that causes that instead of seeing out, you actually see yourself. And the rabbi sadly said, would you consider taking off a little silver so you could better see the other people in your town? And Abraham understood the message. The message was that sometimes we get so caught up in our own self and our own possessions that we have trouble seeing other people. the silver in our life, can make it that instead of seeing out, we can only see in. The message of Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, how is it possible to love another as we love ourselves? What is our lens, our perspective in life? If we see ourselves for our possessions, for the things that we own, for our physical material selves, well, all we see when we see other people is division. This one's tall, this one's small, this one's this one's that. We only see difference. But if we see ourselves for who we truly are, a neshama, a soul, then we are able to see others not as how they are different from us, but as how they are the same as us, united. It's all about our perspective. Can we scrape a little bit of silver off and see others for their potential, for their neshama, for who they truly are? Can we see ourselves for who we truly are? And can we see the world for what it truly is? And when we do that, then we can truly fulfill the mitzvah of Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Wishing everyone Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi, for that very important message. I'm now going to ask Kiara Miller and Jonathan Borovitz to do Chadashot.
תגידי לי בוא, תגידי לי כך, וקחי את הכל, בוא נברח, האוטו שלי.
חדשות מישראל, בוקר טוב. אני קיארה מלה.
ואני ג'ונתן בורוביץ. טרגדיה נוראה קרתה אתמול בערב בישראל. עשרות ישראלים נהרגו בפסטיבל ל"ג בעומר ליד קבר רבי שמעון בר יוחאי.
במהלך השבוע האחרון, חמאס שיגרו יותר מ-40 רקטות לעבר ישראל. ישראל אמרה שהיא תגיב.
ישראל שולחת סיוע להודו כדי להילחם במקרים הרבים של נגיף הקורונה בהודו.
קבוצת הכדורסל הישראלית, אריוני נס ציונה, ניצחה לראשונה בגביע פיבה יורו קאפ.
אוניברסיטת חיפה משתתפת במחקר שהמטרה שלו היא לתקשר עם לבטנים.
News from Israel was proudly brought to you by the Judaica Committee.
Sometimes it only takes one act of kindness and caring to change a person's life.
Candle lighting is at 5:20 p.m. and Motzei Shabbat is at 6:10 tomorrow night.
Shabbat Shalom and have a Lag BaOmer Sameach.
Right, just before we start the second part of the assembly, as of Monday, and I kind of went a little bit ahead yesterday thinking that we didn't have Denim Day today, but as of Monday, we will be going into full winter uniform. Please, can I ask that you ensure that your uniform is ready over the weekend? I know that it is particularly cold at the moment, and especially today, and my feeling is that the temperatures would have dropped from next week. There are only 3 things that can keep you warm, and that's a blazer, a jersey, and the school jacket. Unless we dip below freezing, I'm asking no one to wear hoodies or anything that isn't part of the school uniform. So boys, it's back to ties and shirts. And if you're not sure, perhaps you can get some lessons from Mr. Johnson of how to do a tie. But full uniform as of Monday. I also want to say a real rising concern is the amount of numbers of COVID families in our school. In fact, I was trying to work out, I think we have more families that are isolating at the moment than we did during the first lockdown and certainly during the second wave. It is cold. You are not going to be outside as much as you would have been, especially over the long weekend where the weather was absolutely beautiful. I'm appealing to you and your families to adhere to the protocols that we need to follow as far as keeping ourselves safe. We don't want to be closing the school. We want to be able to allow our sportsmen and women to run onto the fields or onto the netball courts next week. Please, please, it doesn't escape us. And I'm sure that every single one of you knows of a family at this stage that is suffering from COVID. And now we're going to go into the second part of the assembly, which is it's gender-based violence in a country that it is a scourge. It is something that is just, I'm not sure that one can even put it into words. At one stage, I think people thought, well, it happens out there, it doesn't happen in our community. But I'm afraid it does. And I won't tell you how many times I used to walk near the media center and there were a couple of boys that used to be sitting there barking when the girls walked past, thinking it was funny. You all understand what it means when we talk about violence. And so this assembly this morning is absolutely crucial. And I'm going to now ask Rafi to introduce it. Am I correct?
Be a man. Do what you want to her.
Be a man. Share her with me.
Wow, what I would do to her.
What? Are you scared?
Be a man. What are you? A girl?
It's what she wants.
Show her what it is. Don't listen to anybody else.
Come on, give it to her.
Show her your power.
Come on, smash her.
Don't be scared.
Be a man.
Be a man. Be a man.
Be a man.
Be a man.
She would never tell her friends.
Boys will be boys.
If someone makes you feel that a man needs to speak, act, or behave in a certain way,
Don't be a man. Be a human being.
Because we know that every single one of us is a part of the problem, and we are willing to work towards a solution
By unmuting ourselves.
I row with the silent voice, voice of a silent man. Thunderstorm, storm, and lightning, cutting thoroughly through throats of ruffled families. Families of a mother, families of a father, silent voice of the man. Voice of a silent man, from human to human and humiliation. Dishonesty, disorder to destruction. Destruction to deformation. Voice of the silent man. Make her not a punching bag, rather buy yourself a punching bag. No woman, no human, no child is your punching bag. Gender equality is not gender inequality. Listen, the silent voice of a baby crying. Babies are not substitute for baby mothers. React, respond, respect, retrospect, and be responsible. Yes, I'm talking remedy to rectify and end gender-based violence. Gender inequality is no base of comfort. The time is now. Now is the time. Voice of a silent man. Yes, voice of a silent man. Tobo Tomoletso. Silence is the easy way out for most, and often a comfort for all. Beyond the silence, the deafening screams of the victims can be heard. We, the students of King David, now have the obligation to stand up, stand out, and break the silence. We wear a mask every day to protect ourselves from an invisible global pandemic. Yet we wear invisible masks to avoid protecting others from the silent pandemic. Gender-based violence is a pandemic that affects our country, city, institutions, schools, our mothers, our sisters, and our women. Today we speak out. We are starting an initiative to combat the silence of this deadly pandemic of gender-based violence. Next time you hear your friend speak or act in a way that may have been mentioned in the previous video, speak up, speak out, and stand out. It is time to unmute ourselves.
"51% of South African women say they have experienced some form of gender-based violence. 1 in 3 women worldwide experience physical or sexual violence, mostly by an intimate partner. 76% of South African men admit that they have perpetrated abuse against women at least one stage in their life. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, emerging data and reports from those on the front lines have shown that all types of violence against women and girls, particularly domestic violence, has intensified. A global pandemic of domestic terrorism is happening right now. The traditional ways that many children and women would access help and security has been cut off to them. This hand signal can save someone's life. Awareness around the signal for help is a campaign aimed toward the new COVID-19 reality. The symbol is a sign for help. It is simply raising your hand, your palm to the camera, then tucking your thumb, and then closing your fingers over your thumb. People are on Zoom way more than they have ever been in the past, which allows victims to use this sign covertly in a case where their abuser is monitoring their digital communications, and this way, he would have no trace of their plea for help. This silent gesture is critical. We can't forget that this pandemic of abuse and sexual assault is silently happening in all of our cities, suburbs, and schools. It doesn't matter where you live. There is someone at home who cannot leave and is looking for a way to reach help and find safety. This hand signal is not going to solve the problem, but any way in which we can fill the gap around what people might need to get out of an abusive situation is part of the solution. Being able to recognize the symbol is equally as important in understanding that you are in a position to save someone's life. Other ways to make an impact in ending gender-based violence include listening to survivors, educating yourself on consent and signs of abuse, standing up against your friends who make sexually abusive jokes, knowing the data and statistics on gender-based violence, and donating to women's rights organizations. The Awareness and Advocacy Committee, along with Rafi DaCosta, our head boy, and James Norwitz, the head boy of King David Victory Park, will be launching many other initiatives and drives just like today. We can't think of women being world leaders and economic drivers when one of the most basic things we need for women is that they are safe in their own homes and have access to ask for help when they need. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Hashtag unmute yourself.
It was nice to see you again. Yeah, great to catch up.
Yeah. Oh, can you share that banana bread recipe?
Oh, sure. It's actually my mom's banana bread recipe, but it's pretty foolproof and it's super easy.
Well, I appreciate it. I know your mom is a great baker, so I should be good.
The trick is to grease the pan really well and use overripe bananas. That's my mom's tip.
Okay, good to know. I can't wait to try it. So thanks again for the recipe.
Thank you to the Awareness Committee and to you, Rafi, for a very, very worthy initiative in this school, and perhaps quite sobering for us to know what is happening within our community, within our school, and in the broader community. I'm now going to ask Shannon Wolpe and Farah Rabinovitz to give us some information on the JJC.
Good morning, Mishaga, teachers, and fellow pupils. Last year, Farah and I had the opportunity and privilege to represent King David High School Linksfield on the Johannesburg Junior Council. We also had the opportunity to choose, with the help of our teachers and mentors, the next two individuals to represent our school on the council.
We are so proud to officially announce Dan Appleton and Joseph Joffe as the Johannesburg Junior Councillors for 2021-2022. Both Dan and Jojo have made the school incredibly proud, but both receiving leadership positions on council. Dan Appleton is Deputy Head of the Sports and Rec Committee, and Joseph Joffe is Head of the Outreach Committee. Heartiest mazel tov to both of you boys.
We cannot wait to see the most incredible things that you boys will get accomplished this year. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Well done to Daniel and Joseph, and I hope that you make a wonderful contribution to the Johannesburg Junior City Council. I'm now going to ask Ben Goss and Dani Novik to give us some eco news.
Good morning, everyone. We are so excited to be 1 month away from Eco Week. In the next few weeks, we will be launching the Siakana initiative. Siakana transformed itself from a garbage site to a food garden in 2005. But Siakana is not only a food garden where you can buy your weekly organic greens. It is also a platform for research and training. Siakana undertakes research in food, nutrition, and urban agriculture, and more. After school on Wednesdays, we'll be going to volunteer at Siakana Food Gardens. Volunteering involves helping out around the garden, as well as a look into how the harvesting process works. Your time will go towards community hours, so keep a lookout on the announcement groups for more details to follow.
Hi guys, we recently ran a recycling appeal and had a great response from people bringing old and broken electronics. Thank you all so much for being part of the solution in reducing pollution caused by electronic waste. While new tech and innovations are increasing every day, the lifespan of these devices is decreasing, and so is the health of our planet. We can all be part of the solution by ensuring that our old devices are disposed of in a responsible and eco-friendly way. If you have any more e-waste you would like to get rid of, please come and speak to anyone in the Eco Committee. Thank you so much for everyone who brought e-waste, Get ready for our upcoming Eco Week at the end of May. We are so excited. It is going to be amazing. Thank you and Shabbat Shalom.
And now sports news, brought to you by Gilad Janet and Ref Hershevitz.
Good morning, King David. In sports news this week, the long drawn-out saga between Cricket South Africa and Sports Minister Mthethwa after the CSA Members' Council ratified the new constitution.
The champ versus the maverick. Floyd Mayweather will go head-to-head with Logan Paul on the 6th of June. The event has been finalized and will be taking place at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Manchester City have placed themselves in a good position to advance into the UEFA Champions League final after beating PSG 2-1 in the first leg.
Get keen, get pumped. Sports is coming fully back to King David. Winter sports matches begin next week. We're kicking off with our first netball and rugby matches in over a year. Netball matches are happening on Monday and Wednesday, while rugby matches are happening on Wednesday. Cross-country meets and squash will begin on the 10th of May.
The Guy Parfitt Day is happening this afternoon. Even if you aren't playing, please stay and support. Thank you to Ms. Schrager for allowing us to host this significant day.
Keep an eye out on your announcement groups for the sports schedule for this week. This week's sports news was proudly brought to you by the Sports and Lifestyle Committee. Pride, passion, participation. It's what we do. Shabbat Shalom and have a sports-filled weekend.
I do hope that the weather improves so that the sports day can go ahead, which is a wonderful, wonderful initiative. I'm not sure why we only mentioned Man City, because Man United had a magnificent win last night. And sorry for those Arsenal fans, but, just well done to Man United. And right, and then the final part of our assembly this morning is obviously the segment for Lag BaOmer. So I'm going to ask Tali Pimstein and Gabby Sasson to introduce.
When the flame is ignited, it not only brings light into the world and its surroundings, but it is also able to give of its light without being extinguished. The flame can be compared to our Jewish values, traditions, and the everlasting Jewish continuity. Today we celebrate the Chag of Lag BaOmer. It is customary to build bonfires, play music, throw parties, and even go for haircuts.
Rabbi Akiva lost 24,000 of his students to a deadly plague. After 33 days of 700 funerals per day, this horrific plague finally came to an end. You would think that this would be remembered as a moment of relief and not an entire celebration. So, what are we actually celebrating?
When Rabbi Akiva heard the plague had stopped, in that exact moment, he realized that he needed to find more students to inspire and educate. He went to a yeshiva where there were 5 students, and he began to learn with them. One of the 5 students was the great and holy scholar, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, whose yortzeit is commemorated on Lag BaOmer. This would ensure that the Jewish flame of Torah and learning would continue to burn brightly.
The beauty of Lag BaOmer is that we do not only celebrate this plague coming to an end, but we celebrate the most Jewish concept, the idea of our Jewish flame never being extinguished. No matter what obstacles we as Jews are faced with, we will continue to come back stronger, burn brighter, and spread our light throughout the world. What you wish to ignite in others must first burn within yourself.
Chag BaOmer Sameach v'Shabbat Shalom.
It's really upsetting when you have an assembly and we talk about kindness and mutual respect, and this is always the response. One wonders if it's even worth it. As there are many of us in the hall, we are not going to do anthems this morning, but so I'm going to take this opportunity to wish you all a warm Shabbat and a peaceful one, and please keep safe. I'd like to, please, the school must remain seated because Tali and Samara are going to just address the school.
After we've done the countdown, let's just have a chat.
What, like pretend to
Yeah.
have a chat?
What's
Hello. What's up, guys? We hope you all had an amazing week. It is so wonderful to see you all dressed in denim to show your support and solidarity in ending the fight against gender-based violence and rape culture. If you guys have any money to donate to Power, please go and drop it off to Debbie at break.
As you all know, we are supposed to be having the annual Gap Harvard Sports Day for BaOmer, in which soccer, netball, and volley games will be all played. We're going to make a call at about 12:30 today if it's going to be happening or not. But if it is happening, please all show your support by coming to watch. All the teams participate. It's going to be so much fun and really an unforgettable afternoon. We hope to see you all there.
Just a reminder that Slipper Day is happening next Friday, so please remember to start bringing your 10 Rand to tutor groups from Monday and get your slippers ready.
Now it's time for a countdown. Grade 8, you have 920 days left of school. Grade 9s, you have 723 days left of school.
Grade 10s, you have 526 days left of school. Grade 11s, you have 329 days left of school. No, I don't want to do that. And matrics. You, okay. You have 84 days left of school.
Can you say that?
Yeah.
We wanted to give a few special shout-outs and Shabbos dedications this week. We know that there has been a lot of tension in the reserve this weekend, but we're really hoping that the Big Five managed to stay out of the Rangers' way this weekend.
A very good Shabbos to Sophie Hoffman, Lav Ben Shmukla, and the Soul team.
Also, a major shout out to all the couples who managed to make it through this weekend. You've made it through the first round of breakup season. Isn't that right, Jake Levine?
A huge mazel tov to the following matrics for getting their licenses. Gabriel Atkins, Gabby Friedman, Jethro Levy, Zara Chudonsky, Michael Matheson, Daniel Burr, and Farah Rabinovitz.
Who is that?
Anthea!
Guys, please settle down. Because we want to say, good morning, King David.
And good morning, Matric 2021!
Got nothing more to say. It's a lovely day. Whoa.